everybody. Come on in, come on in. Welcome back to the Wives Club. The Wives Club was started in 2021 when I booked a session with the late, great Kevin Samuels. He's no longer with us, but his message lives on. And here in the Wives Club, we believe, like Kevin said, the older women should teach the young. So that's what we do each week from our own lived experience as former wives, current wives, and even future wives. So I'm Maggie. You all may know me for my cooking channel. I'm all about food and femininity. You all know Lucy. She's a moderator on Kevin's channel, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. Lucy, please.
Hi Maggie, hi all. I'm Lucy. I have a channel that for the most part has content about Spanish, teaching Spanish to basic to more advanced. But this year I've decided to change the topics on to be related more to femininity, elegance, and topics for women over a certain age. So on this channel, we discuss mainly Kevin Samuels and his episodes and some of the wisdom that he shared while he was with us. And today's episode is it's an interesting one.
All right. So we are the Wives Club on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and that's what I was sharing on Instagram. So, okay, you all see the title here. We are reviewing an episode entitled Three Things That Will Save the Ladies. And this looks like a clip from a longer live stream. So there were three things, and we're going to go over them with you. Like Lucy said, we are older women. I'll be 49 this year. Lucy is 57. And we love giving our perspective and hope that it's helpful as we make our drop in the bucket. You all are always welcome to chime in the chat. And if we have time at the end, we'll bring you up on stream, or you can just watch from the clouds. Okay.
Okay, wait, I gotta make a note. My dog might start acting out. It's Saturday afternoon. Usually I'm not on on a live on a Saturday night. On the weekends, we go outside and we do things outside. And my husband is working. So if she starts going crazy, I apologize. She's not used to this different um, schedule.
Okay, sorry, puppy. That's Auntie Maggie's fault. And Lucy brings up a good point. Usually we stream on the Wives Club on Friday night. I had to reschedule yesterday. I don't know what happened. The entire block, we didn't have power. And I was sitting here in the dark and I was like, yeah, Lucy, I don't think I'm going to be able to stream. So thank you all for being with us. It's Saturday night. Whether you're watching live or the replay, we appreciate you watching, and I completely understand, Lucy. Okay, so this episode is a clip down from a longer live stream from Kevin's, and he says three things that will save the ladies. So some of you may already know what they are, but we're going to go through them. The first one that Kevin said that will save the ladies is what he was, an image consultant. And I have my clips here. You all know how I do. I know Lucy has her notes. So if you see me looking down, I'm just reviewing my clips. The image consultant, I'm actually the way I think about it, I think Kevin Samuels was the first image consultant that I knew. When I booked my session with him, it wasn't for image. I am happily average. I am aware of that. But the image consultant's role is to help you get an accurate view of your entire image for the caliber of men that you say that you want. Kevin would style women and he would style men. I have had to hire a stylist when I have events. I have someone pick clothes for me and accessories. But if you remember, Kevin was big on acronyms. And so his A, B, C, D of image, gosh, they escape me. But I know one was, your actual look, but D was your digital footprint. C was your communication, and A and B escape me. So the point I'm making is that my first clip, Kevin said, you want to work with someone who can help you get the outcomes that you want. In a lot of these spaces, we women, we like to sit here and we like to absorb and listen to the content. But if you're not actually moving forward and getting the outcome that you want with someone who can shoot it to you straight. He said if there's a fatal prognosis, which is a little bit morbid, but basically that was his job, to basically snap you out of your delusion and say, this is not acceptable by the men that you say that you want. They're very traditional. They're not going to tell you multiple times. You either are ready to be matched or you're not. So those were my first points. Lucy, what would you add?
I love how you explained the image consultant aspect. How I saw it is that an image consultant is the one that shows you, you know, that you only have one time to make a first impression. The image consultant is the one that says, what is it that you look like or how you present yourself on that first impression? And then he starts building up. Um, I think that maybe uh, enhancing some of the good things about your image and throwing away those that are not as positive for you. I've never had the opportunity to visit an image consultant. I think that if I was on my 40s and I was still having trouble finding the man that I want, I think I would probably pay to do that, because it also has to do with taking self responsibility, accountability, to say, you know what? It's not the world. It might be me, the one that's not attracting the kind of man that I want to have. And somehow something is not sticking. So I think that having that image consultant will allow you to first say, you know what? I am to humble yourself and say, let me have it as you see it, and then start working towards that image that will get you the results you want.
That's so true. And you bring up a really good point, Lucy. Kevin harped a lot about that on this episode, as far as the time that women need to make the decision to seek help and the investment, because those two things, you can't escape them, ladies. Youth is one of those things that's fleeting. And if for whatever reason, like he said, if you spent 18 to 35 doing whatever you wanted to do, I love the language that he used for his men. He said, you're going to have to pay for a learning curve. Those of us that grew up in traditional homes, Lucy and I are both immigrants, the marriage and the family unit was a priority, and we were raised that way from childhood to prioritize that. Even if you go to school and even if you get a career, you need to be able to do both at the same time, or prioritize what's actually going to be important in the long run. Hello, everyone coming in. So, Kevin comes from the corporate world. I work in corporate America as well. I work in tech, but still, this one makes a lot of sense for me, even though I have not hired an image consultant. I've had, I was married at 25, and I've had a long-term relationship since, unfortunately ended in divorce after 10 years. So I've prioritized relationship. But like Lucy said, ladies, if you're in your late 20s, you need to really start thinking about, okay, what I'm doing is not working, and you really want to look at someone who can help you get the outcomes that you want. A little story time. So my man is a VP for a very large company. And I remember when he was getting groomed for this role, these things don't just happen. You are assigned a mentor. He had to go to executive training, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, like his executive presence in the room. These things are common to people who are in those 1%, 10% circles. So ladies, if you want to show up in a certain kind of way, you need to know that the men that you want are already doing the work to build themselves. And so if you think you're just going to show up and be cute and really not prepare, it's not going to work. The other thing that he said, honestly, after 35, you've pretty much moved out of dating in the type of like lounge or club or just regular circles. The second thing, there are three, the second thing that he said after an image consultant, and I remember the acronym, A was for appearance. So how do we look head to toe? The truth. B was for behavior. Ladies, that's something that we can all work on. And then C was your communication, and D is your digital footprint. Believe me, the men that you want are gonna scrub your social media. So you could do what you want to and think it's funny and think it's cute, but it matters to the men that we want here. If you believe in traditional gender roles, I always say it's not for everybody, and that's fine. So the second thing that Kevin said that women need to do is get a matchmaker. And a matchmaker is someone, they used to do this back in the past. I know people think about, oh, arranged marriages and whatever, but I would say this. You can hire a matchmaker to really give you the honest truth about what you qualify for and some potential matches. But I would also offer, if you've gotten to 35, 18 to 35, and you've never married, I hope you spent that time at least building your network, whether it's personal network or professional network, to have the type of social circle, married friends, people that are in long-term relationships, so you can work in your network. You need to come out of the dating scene. You need to come out of the online scene. You definitely need to come out of the club scene and start working your network and helping people introduce you to someone that you can live the rest of your life with. Because, ladies, he said it, if you've gotten to 35, you've blown your youth and you're not going to get it back. None of us are going to get it back. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And on that ABC portion, the communication part is so important because, according to the environment that you're being exposed to, your communication level has to change. So again, if you're going to be matched with someone, if you're going to have to be exposed to different environments, your communication skills have to be on point, especially if you're somebody that is 35 years and up. Because again, those men are going to say, well, her communication style if is immature. What has she been doing working on herself between 18 years and 35? Why are her skills so less than where they should be at 35 and above? And unfortunately, on Kevin Samuel's show, we do see a lot of that behavior of women that are unable to communicate in a way that they want to portray, or they want to state what it is that they are calling for. And you see it over and over again. So again, when you're going to be exposed through a matchmaker in different environments, your communication has to match the environment.
Such a good point. I'll park here at the communication and then talk a little bit more about the matchmaker. Lucy and I run the finishing school for the modern woman, and that's one of the things that we do to try and help ladies get caught up. If you weren't raised in a certain way, and if you don't know how you're showing up, it's just true. Masculine men require feminine women. And one of our biggest sponsors, Brandon L. Jett, when I talked to him privately, he said, Maggie, you got to help these women with the communication. It astounds me when you ask a woman a direct question, how she struggles to give a direct answer, land the plane. She's all over the place. That doesn't work well with men. Something as simple as introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and people are just like a deer in the headlights. Ladies, that's not going to work for the caliber of men that you want. So if you're struggling in this area, what you can't do is just show up and say, teach me, I'm ready to learn. That's not going to fly. I'll tell you something my man said. If you are trying to get a certain caliber of man who has made himself and you haven't done any work, what it also tells him, not only that you've wasted that time and you haven't done any personal development, but the caliber of men that you have dated have not required you to do anything to upgrade yourself, which means you're going to try and practice on him. And no man worth his salt is going to be your guinea pig so you can figure this out. They don't have time for that, ladies. My man tells me all the time, I'm going to tell you one time in a row, and you have to figure it out. So a lot of times women find themselves on the outside looking in, making and repeating mistakes that they either know better and just think, oh, I'm cute, they'll forgive me again and again. And that beauty, it'll get you to the front of the line, but it won't keep you there if you don't have the character to match. And that's one of the things, when we talk about item number 2, that matchmaker. If you listen in this episode, Kevin said, of course, that image consultant is going to help you with your style, personality, and having a feminine wardrobe. Because yes, looks are important. Men like what they like, and you need to know how to show up as the kind of woman that you think that you are or want to be. But I love what he said about a matchmaker is going to do that pre-vetting for you, all the way down to credit report, your dating history. All of this stuff is important because a man is not going to risk his reputation just trying. What did Kevin say in this episode? He said something like, the man, whether it's Blue Henry or Blake Henry, he's not going to leave it to chance. He's not just going to find some woman swiping through a whole bunch of, pictures in an app and say, that's my wife. Lucy and I have covered something like that. He's not just going to meet a girl, in a dark club and say, oh, she's marriage material. Men take this very seriously because it's their life. It's their life's work. It's their legacy. So they don't play around when it comes to something serious. And so you need to show up just as serious. And that's what a matchmaker, or at minimum, a good recommendation from a solid friend or colleague or someone who knows you and can speak on your behalf. Because believe me, you will be vetted. You're not getting away with anything. So even if you think, oh, nobody will find out, believe me, they will find out. What would you add, Lucy?
You're right. And the way they vet you is taking you to the different environments that they're exposed to. I remember when I was first dating my husband, he took me to a couple of weddings for his co-workers or his colleagues. He's a developer. And he also took me to some award ceremonies that happened for his job. And he was watching to make sure that I was not going to embarrass him, how other people saw me and what they spoke about me after the fact. So again, they test you all throughout that time to make sure that, again, you're going to be something that they're going to be proud of when you're around them or around you. Again, it's not only just a pretty face. They take you out to make sure that you can um, handle environments where he is also part of.
That's such a good point, that reputation. And ladies, that's one of the things that the matchmaker or, someone in your network will tell you, yeah, I think you would be a good fit for this person. Or honestly, I don't think you're ready for this caliber of man. And that's why Kevin was harping so hard on that personal development. And one of the things that I love that he said, if you're not ready to invest, and, he named a dollar amount. He said, you should be willing to invest 5% of your salary until you die. Now, we know Kevin had a way with words, but his point and the takeaway from me is that personal development never ages and it never expires. In the finishing school, that's one of the things we tell we tell the ladies, Lucy and I, you can be elegant at any age. You can work on these things. But to Lucy's point about the testing, I have access to very high quality men in this space, and I'm so grateful. I have the benefit of talking to Thane, and without revealing too much, ladies, like Lucy said, the men are going to test you. And one of the ways they're going to test you is with money. And that's a big test that a lot of women mess up. So if you have access to his money, I remember my man gave me one of his cards to do something specific with, and I did that specific thing and came right back with a report of what I spent and what I didn't spend. And when he asked for it back, I gave it right back to him. Also, if they gift you anything and you get a sense of entitlement, like, oh, it's always going to be this way. And then they pull back intentionally just to see, are you going to pout? Are you going to pitch a fit? Are you going to be able to handle yourself in certain situations? Do you know how to dress properly? Do you follow the dress code when you're invited to the company Christmas party? Do you know how to handle a glass of champagne? Or do you stay at the bar and then everybody's kind of having that conversation? The last thing your man wants is Monday morning after the holiday party, so and so's wife or so and so's lady, gave everybody a show because she doesn't know how to control herself. These things are really important, ladies. And if you don't know, or if you're starting to feel a little bit nervous about it, that's why we're here to tell you, so you have that self awareness and you can seek it out. All of these things can be corrected, but you have to be intentional. And like Kevin said, you are going to have to invest. Kevin was a very, very premium man, and he believed in you get what you pay for. But I do believe, and Lucy and I have seen it, sometimes when people don't have to earn something, they don't take it as seriously. Even me, as a teacher, in this finishing school space and other things that I do, I continue to take classes. I was in one today. I'm going to be in another one in body language and how to carry myself as a lady, because I work in tech, which is data. I work in corporate America, which is competitive. I'm a boy mom. They're masculine. And so I want to make sure that I show up in a way that is getting me the results that I want. And I'm not just like falling into, a lazy way of just being, loud and unruly. And yeah, he said that a serious candidate does the work. So ladies, if you want a serious man, please believe and know he wants a serious woman. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. He also said that at 35 and plus, you do not have the options you had at 22. And that's the reason why he would pressure the women that would call into making sure that they worked on their image. They worked with a matchmaker. And then there's that third part that Maggie's going to bring up soon. He also said that men look at women who have done the work and are willing to compete for them. So again, it's again looking at the effort. How much effort have you made to say that you do deserve that man that you want? I don't talk about high value men because as I've said before, to me, my husband, from the second I met him, he was my high value man. And he continues to be one. So again, and it's also about being realistic about life. You know, not every man is the high value man that Kevin talks about. You have to see that man that you're interested in, you have to look at him as your high value man. Not everybody else's, you're the one that's for you. And work towards achieving the success of maybe him falling in love with you and following through for that relationship. So again, women have to do the work and and compete for the man you want. Bottom line.
That's so true. We have a question here from Loose Goose saying, why don't women refine themselves? Excellent question. And we'd love to know what you all think in the chat. We'll continue on with the third thing and a few more thoughts. But I'm going to be very honest, and I hate to say it, but it's true. I think it's laziness. I really think it's laziness. And then also a little bit of defiance. As we say in the South, sometimes people don't believe water is wet. You just want to keep touching that stove. You really don't believe it's hot, but it's got to burn you, and you got to get told and embarrassed and ashamed before you realize, oh man, these games I'm playing is not working. I also think, in defense a little bit, I'm not making any excuses here. We call it like it is. But I know popular culture and social media and what you watch on movies and TV and all of that shows women being out in front. They're leading. You're a boss, babe. You don't need a man. I can do it by myself. All of these things. But that's not the real world. Now, I always say, I understand this is not for everybody. If you don't believe in traditional gender roles, that's fine. We are not equal. We are equally valued, but we are very different. And I think that women have this false, I'm a 10, or I'm perfect, or I am the table, or, pick a slogan. And they really don't think they have to earn the man that they want. Men know, take it from a boy mom. Men know from a little age, okay, if I want this girl's attention, I need to do something. So whether it's picking flowers or buying her an ice cream or, taking her out to prom or what, boys, young men, and men know that they have to earn it. I'm talking about men. So when women just think, oh, I'm perfect the way that I am, they really get a rude awakening when they meet a man that's like, okay, you got a pretty face, but what kind of substance is behind it? And they're just blinking fast and slow, and then they're scrambling. Another thing that Kevin said, he really looked curiously at a lot of women in men's spaces. Kevin used to stream late at night, and he had a lot of women kind of in those spaces, and we still see it today, just trying to find out, what's the cheat code, and, give me the keys to the kingdom, and trying to get attention from men, to kind of shortcut to the front of the line. Ladies, I'm gonna tell you, like my man told me, the way to win is to find a man who is either going where you want to go or is already there. Attach yourself loyally to him and support him in reaching his goals. You will get what you want by taking care of him. Now, if you want to lead with your hand out, you may get a few trips and you may get a few trinkets, but I promise you, you won't get a lasting relationship. How would you answer this one, Lucy? Why don't women refine themselves?
In addition to what Maggie said, I also think that some of these ladies have not been exposed to an environment where they need to see refinement. So again, to be refined, to know what it is to be refined, you have to have seen it somewhere. But if you've never seen the example of refinement, then you don't know what you don't know. So again, I think it has to do also, it's a matter of generational mishaps where, the first generation didn't teach it, then the second generation, they didn't see that it was important. So now you have like generation after generation of manners that have been gone, that now you don't know what is a good manner or not. So again, and we also have lost that. I think in schools, Americans used to have home economics where they would teach you how to cook, how to do all of these things, that you no longer have it. And unfortunately, the modern world, environments like the media, Hollywood, school, everything has told you that really you don't need that because you have the look of somebody. So they haven't seen the need to make that effort to be refined, unfortunately.
Yeah, Lucy's right. And the last thing I'll say before we move on to number three, Kevin said in this episode, he talks about competing a lot. He said that our counterparts have learned this early, meaning, okay, modern women, the world that we live in is churning you out to be part of the workforce. And that's fine if that's what you want until 65. I don't want to be, part of the workforce side by side with a man at 6 a.m. Let's hit the bricks until I'm 65. If you want to, that's fine. But women that are winning have either learned this early, and I mean like under 10. They had the example at home. They come from a traditional nuclear family and they've seen it. We had an event where my mom was our special guest and she talked about how she didn't teach me by telling me. She taught me by showing me. I saw my mom serve my dad. I saw my mom become the matriarch that she is. She is a very humble and quiet woman, but when she speaks, like everybody pays attention. These are the women that unfortunately are not the mothers and grandmothers now. And so it's kind of like the women our age are trying to be with the 20 and 30-year-olds. And ladies, that is such a bad look. Men, they don't respect it. They don't like it. They don't believe it. And you're wasting your own time. Kevin had this saying that you could unfortunately die alone. But the math is I think he said in our community, 2 million more women than men. So even if you just look at it like a numbers game, if every man got married, there would still be 2 million women left over. So if you don't think you have to compete, you're fooling yourself. And competing can still be very feminine, but you definitely need to open your eyes and realize if what you're doing is not working and you're becoming a mature woman, you have to do something different. So speaking of the something different, number three. So our first one was image consultant, giving you, a feminine presence from head to toe and even social and communication. The second one was a matchmaker, hiring or getting help from someone to pair you up with a suitable match, because the dating apps and the clubs is not it, especially if you're over 27. Those days are over. The last one, and I'm going to put myself on the hot seat, is a personal trainer. Ladies, in America, in our community, people have just let themselves go. And I will say, this is something that I should have gotten a handle on when I was younger. And I did let it go because I thought, my professional accomplishments would make up for that. So for me, for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to be really mindful and stay on top of that. I'm not where I need to be, but I'm making progress. But the personal trainer, of course, there's the, physical fitness aspect of it, which is important, but also it shows a discipline and it shows a commitment, and it shows that you're taking this seriously, because men know that, we also like what we see. And so they hit the gym and they try to take care of their health, men are men, but, having a personal trainer and having a routine that you're doing without anybody telling you, you have sought this out. You have prioritized this in your day, in your schedule, in your budget, in your groceries. You are mindful of how you take care of your bodies. Because someone very important told me, if you don't respect your own body, that means you don't respect yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, that means you won't respect me. And men must have a woman that respects them. They want a woman that respects them more than they want a woman that loves them. So that was the third one, personal trainer. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. The personal trainer thing, especially when you're younger, it allows you to keep your body in shape. At 57, with the menopause and all that stuff, your body changes so quickly. It makes it so differently. Even when you work out, the pounds don't you don't shed them as quickly. Your fat gets readjusted. It gets redeposited in different places in your body, and you don't at least for me, I don't recognize my body as I see it now, because I remember when I was younger, I had the body that called my husband's attention. We used to go work out together, when we were first dating, like on the weekends, just to, I guess that was part of his vetting, and that was part of spending time with me. And that was something so good to do, because we're both learning about how we would get frustrated when we couldn't reach a certain amount of weights and so forth, and him helping him, with the spotting and all that. I think it's important to show your possible significant other that you have what it takes to keep yourself healthy, especially if he's planning on you having children. What kind of discipline are you going to show your children if you're not disciplined enough to keep your body in a healthy weight, under a healthy weight?
Yes, ladies, this is so true. And if you watch Kevin's episode, you know he's good for asking height, weight, and dress size. And yes, that's important. But I do want you to realize these are commitments to a lifestyle change and a lifestyle of choices that someone from the outside looking in and say, this is a serious woman. And Lucy's brought up something, I've had, 2 pregnancies, 2 boys, and life changes as we get older. And after you have children, things start to shift. Here's the thing, especially for mature women, men do not expect perfection. That's one of the reasons why, they go for younger if that's what they want, because they have the benefit of youth. We all had it at one time. But, I ask my man, because sometimes I get a little self-conscious. So I'm like, oh, I'm flabby here, and I feel self-conscious about this. But what he told me is that, yeah, but I remember when you weren't. And so it's important that if relationships are important to you, that you give your best, when you can, to your man, because they have your husband, they have the memory. They know we're going to age. I'm grayer in some areas. We all have things that happen that, it's kind of like, okay, well, now I wear glasses and different things. So they don't expect us to be 22 forever. But as we age, I think you can age gracefully, but the healthy food, whether it's going for a walk or, the elliptical, whatever you do, these are things that you'll carry into your golden years. So you don't just like show up like, I've given up on myself. I try every day to show up as the best version of myself, for myself and for my man, because he deserves it. As we age, though, ladies, one of the things that Kevin said in this clip that kind of shook me is about the relationship, not only the relationship options as we get older, but the relationship challenges as we get older. So, for older women, or especially any younger women that are listening, the long-term love and the effort that we put into relationship, Kevin said, that's for your teens and 20s. As we get older, he said, our relationships get shorter. If you have not married and you're still on this dating scene and you're in your 30s, he said every 6 months, women are cycling through a new relationship. That means past 30, 35, you have two new men every year. And then if you know, extrapolate that out, you can do the math, and it's not good. One of my consults sent me a woman, she's 60 plus, never married, no children, and she's on these online dating apps, looking for hypergamy, telling about her experiences dating. And I think her longest relationship or something like that was 6 months. Ma'am, stop it. Why are you even on these dating apps? So what that means is that, ladies, Kevin said in this episode too, as we get older, and this is for all of us, time moves faster as you get older. I remember being little and just thinking, oh, the days are so long. I'm so bored. What am I gonna do? Now, working, being a mom, being on social media, taking care of my man, all the things. It's like, I need more time in the day. Before you know it, you're planning things for the next month, for the next year. Kids are graduating, and life just keeps going on. And if you don't prioritize relationship, like he said, 27 turns to 30, and then 35. You're 40 before you know it. Once you get to 40, you can imagine 50. I remember thinking 30 was old. Now I'm almost 50. I can easily see 60 or 65, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to aging gracefully, hopefully remarrying one day. But yes, with these short-term relationships that unfortunately older women collect, it lessens your ability to really bond with a man. And that's what men want, and that's what they expect, is your devotion. And if you've racked up all these experiences and all this damage, you're not going to be the best candidate for something long term. So really think about it and prioritize it now. What would you add, Lucy?
That was a very good point. As I'm going to be turning 58 in July, I can't imagine myself wanting to be in the dating environment at this age. I don't know what I would be looking for. I guess maybe I would be looking only for companionship, because even if you look at biology, our bodies are not meant to be as active when it comes to certain things that you were when you were younger. So again, at 60, what exactly are you looking for on the dating market? So again, it's really it's fascinating, and it's actually sad because again, at that age, chances are that that I wouldn't find myself uh, a viable candidate at that point. And that goes back also to the personal trainer. The younger you try to keep yourself, the more chances that you're going to have at least of finding someone that's almost close to your age. So you have to keep yourself as healthy and as attractive as possible the older you are.
Absolutely. So if you all have any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll also drop the link in case anybody wants to talk to us. You can be camera on or camera off. We may go another 20 minutes and then wrap up. I know we're on a different night, but a little bit of tough love here. But the takeaway, ladies, is that, one of the things that Kevin said in my clips here is that if you can take money out for girls' trips, expensive shoes, purses, God knows the beauty regimen that women are dumping so much money into. If you're not getting the results that you want, you've got to do something different. And if you don't have the information, you're going to have to seek it out. It could be with Lucy and me, or it could be anywhere. There's lots of resources, but this relationship that you want, the long-term marriage and relationship, is not just going to fall in your lap. Hello, the condemned is here. We're talking about the three things women need, Kevin Samuel said: an image consultant, a matchmaker, and a personal trainer. So would love to know what you all think about one or all three of those. So yes, we want you to take your personal development seriously, because a lot of times, and we see it, unfortunately, we see it, women kind of show up with a lot of bravado, which is masculine, and a lot of confidence, thinking they know exactly what's going on, and they fall flat on their face and show up in a way that unfortunately may not be salvageable for the relationship that you want. So it's really important that you prioritize it, and sometimes you just have to put your money where your mouth is. Let's see what Timothy Robinson says. Hello, sir. My first time seeing you here, coming in on Lucy's channel. He says they're a segment of established men in their 50s not looking for another wife. A lady friend, yes, but a wife or a living partner, a lot are looking for none. So I hear you. I will say this, ladies, and Kevin Samuel said it: when it comes to relationship, men are in control. They just are. I am not going to fight you if you don't believe me. But women control access to relations. We control whether it happens or not. Men control access to relationships. And if you don't believe me, buy a ring and propose. But we know that's not what we're doing. So the men are the ones that say, yeah, that one belongs to me. And we all want that, right? We want to be spoken for. We want to know when we're out with our man, he's protecting us, he's providing for us, he's covering us. If you don't, that's fine. Do what you want to do. But, what Timothy is saying here is that, especially older men, if they already have their legacy sorted, maybe they're divorced, maybe they are a widow, maybe they never married, and that's their choice. Men want peace, and they want to live the type of life that they can enjoy after all those years of work. So you trying to twist their arm or nag them into getting what you want, it's not going to work. You have to find the type of man, or be found by the type of man that is looking for maybe marriage, but Lucy's right, long term. I know I am not entitled to a second bite at the apple. I am so grateful, and I tell my man every day how lucky I am. He doesn't have to choose me. I'm just so grateful, because I knew that, especially being, a divorced mom with two children, nobody's really going to sign up for that instant family. So I really make sure I overperform. And he said, when the kids are up and out, maybe I'll have, another opportunity. Let's see. What would you add to that, Lucy, about what Timothy said or anything else?
I agree. I remember Kevin Samuels talking about his lady friends all the time. And at this point, because of how the legal system treats men, when they get divorced, no man is going to be willing to take on that responsibility or that liability, especially if you are a woman who feels entitled to have everything that comes with it without any work whatsoever. So again, I think it's possible to find a man. My husband, he was a bachelor, until he met me. So it's possible, but again, being competitive. I looked when he first met me, I looked better than the women that were my age back then. And that had to do with how I ate, how much I worked out, how I behaved, so many other things that put me on top of that list that he had when he was looking at his future wife. So again, it is a competitive world and you have to work for it. Can you find it? Yes, but you just have to be sure that you are on point when you see that guy. Because I remember seeing him the first time I saw him. He was walking towards his office, and I saw that back, that V shape built, and I said, that one I like. And it
Oh my
happened,
goodness.
but I had to work really, I had to make sure that he understood my choosing signals, and it was that dance, the back and forth dance that, thank God, poor guy, it worked out for both of us because sometimes I'm a handful, but he loves having the Lucy handful.
Absolutely. He loves the Lucy handful. We love the Lucy handful. And ladies, we jest and we joke, but our men know that we have flaws. They know that we're irritable sometimes. We all have our quirks. This is not about being perfect, but it's definitely about getting better. And I love that. I absolutely love that. So yes, it's possible, but we just want to shake the trees and rattle your cages and let you know it's not going to fall in your lap. What does the condemned say? He says, I've heard some matchmakers are declining taking on some women due to their standards, despite being offered the funds. You know it's bad when women are turning down money. This is true. And ladies, for me, the takeaway is we've seen a lot of, women leave the space because if I'm being very honest, I've seen it too. I have quite the network, and sometimes I try to introduce people and, unfortunately, the ladies turn them down left and right. They have their long list, and that's fine. Like what you like. But eventually, the options are going to wither away. And if you've got a man, hold on and hold on tight. You do not want to be out here trying to compete. But yes, it's true. The matchmakers are not just going to like pass you on, like they're going to vet you and they're going to tell you what the type of men that you want, what they want, and they're going to give you an honest assessment. And sometimes, ladies, we don't take feedback that well. And if someone tells you, you're cute, like me, I know I'm average. I am not a head turner, but I work really hard and I try to be as agreeable and get on the program quickly. And I get really good feedback from my man that I listen well and I follow instructions. And I love that because I don't want to add any stress to his life. Because, like, I see this one here from Timothy Robinson. Once a person has their furniture and photos set up where they want them, they are not looking to change out a sofa or living room photos for no one. Ladies, men, especially masculine men, they go out, they slay, they work hard. They are not trying to come home to chaos. I'll give you a little tip. I used to, we don't live together. When my man comes over, I always cook for him and then I pack him something to go. And I get so excited when when he would come through the door and I would cook for him and I'd sit at the table and, I'd want to ask, how was your day? And, 20 questions, just getting really excited. And I just realized one time that maybe he just wants to decompress. So what I started doing is I eat first before he comes. I cook, I time when he's coming, I have the table set with his favorite drink, the simple food that he wants, even if I've made it 100 times and I want to doctor it up and he says, don't touch it, I don't touch it. I do the same meal that he wants every time, and I let him sit at the table alone in silence and just eat his meal. He may be looking outside. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't need to know what he's thinking. I let him have his peace. When he pushes his plate to the side, I go collect it. I clean up the kitchen. I pack his to go. When he sits down and he has his whiskey, then we have our time together and we can talk. But you have to learn these things. Kevin used to say you have to study your man. You have to know what he likes and what he doesn't like. You can't just show up and say, oh, I think you need to move that over there, or I don't like this color, or whatever. None of that matters. And a man is just not going to allow himself to be, you know, picked apart by you. Who are you? What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. Not when you come into his world. When a man allows you into his world, it's because he trusts you. And you're not going to come into his environment and try to change it. They like what they like. Let it be. Again, we are women. We want to change people and we want to change things. If you want that man, let him be. Again, he is who he is, with you or without you. So let him be. It's very hard for me because I have never been a person that wants to change people. I just let them be. That's the behavior that they've always had for many years. Who am I to try to change you? So again, if a man invites you into his environment, do not change it. That's who he is. If you don't like it, it's time for you to, ship out, move out, because he's not going to change for you.
I love that. Lucy brings up such a good point. I do consultations, outside of YouTube, group coaching and individual coaching. And I talk to women and then just, oh, but what about this? And what about that? Especially women who, unfortunately for them, are beautiful. And that means they get a lot of opportunities. Average women, we don't, we don't get men like, ringing our phone all the time. But women who have the fallacy of thinking there's always going to be another date, another call. And I would ask, well, he wanted to go on this boys trip and you argued him down and threatened to break up with him and broke up with him because he wanted to go out with the boys. I said, okay, did he not go because you threw a tantrum, or did he go? No, he went on the trip. So he's going to do what he's going to do anyway. And now you're single and starting over. So ladies, really consider that. What Lucy said, you're not going to change them. You are just not. And if you don't believe me, keep trying. Kim K says personal trainer is definitely a must, especially as we get older. The weight doesn't drop off me as early as it used to in our 20s. That's true, ladies, as we age. And men know that. But if you start at a healthier weight, if you really work on it when you have the benefit of that metabolism, and y'all know how some of y'all, not me, but some of y'all could just eat whatever and lose it like that. If you really keep an eye on it, you're going to put on some weight, but it won't be where a lot of women now have just completely let everything go and they just don't care. And that it's actually disrespectful not only to yourself but to the men. Thank you, the Clue Channel. Yeah, I'm still working on it, ladies, and still trying to get better. The Condemned says, I would consider yourselves image consultants for the ladies. Oh, thank you. Women have the finances nowadays to get the help they need from ladies such as yourselves, but they are listening to the wrong people. There's a lot of messages out there, ladies, and you're going to have to choose wisely, consider the source, and this is not promoting what we do, but I would say if the person that you're listening to doesn't have the type of life that you want to emulate, you probably want to find someone who at least has done what you have done. And as an older women should be able to tell you what they've done right and what they've done wrong. For a 60-year-old woman who never married and never had children, who is on these dating apps looking for hypergamy, the gall. Like, what benefit do you have for a man that you can require that he is, financially, more advanced than you? So if that's not where you want to be when you're 60, I would probably find someone else to listen to. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And unfortunately, we women like to hear things, like to hear beautiful lies instead of hard truths, unfortunately. And the truth is going to hurt at times, but that goes back to wanting to improve yourself, wanting to say, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe what Kevin Samuels was saying 3 years ago, it's making sense. So it's it comes with being mature and saying, yeah, up until this point what I've tried hasn't worked. Maybe I should hear those things that really hurt me to say, maybe I should try this and see how it works out for you.
Yes, you remember that song. Yeah, those good lies. Oh my goodness. Thank you, The Condemned. Kim K says, one of my mentors, who's a married woman, gave me the same advice, Lucy, and it has been so helpful in my relationship. She always says, let that man be. Y'all, I'm telling you, these older women, a lot of young people kind of say, oh, you're outdated. Excuse me. And that's fine. You can think what you want to, but I will say this, we speak from our own lived experience, which means we've seen some things. We've done some things right. We've done some things wrong. And we're honest about it here. But I will say men and women have not changed that much in the hundreds of years. I remember an older woman talked to me on my honeymoon. We went on a cruise and we were sitting at this table with people we didn't know. And I was just we got married at 25. I was just young and so excited. And she started asking me questions and I was kind of like, wow. And those same questions ring true now. So we live in the modern world, but we don't have to be modern women. I think that's a choice. I think you can prioritize relationship. If you want to have a career, that's fine. Do both at the same time, but make sure the career doesn't get in the way of your relationship. Believe me. Timothy Robinson says the beautiful women don't have the market cornered. They might get more first, second, or third dates than average women, but after that, don't bet the farm that they will end up married or claimed. Oh, that is so true. Ladies, I'm going to say this and then we'll wrap up. We got Twid coming in on Lucy's channel. Maybe Kevin was right, but unfortunately, it's too late to change. There is nothing. Kevin used to say this. I remember that episode that he did with Eartha Kitt and Diane Carroll. There is nothing more painful than an older, beautiful woman with regret. And they wonder why average women are winning. And they never expected that their life would turn out this way. But I remember telling one of my ladies in group coaching, and I'll close on this. When you are beautiful, and you didn't have to do anything to earn it. You were just born that way. And I get it. Two boys, I have one that's like a jock and the ladies are just all over him. I'm like, he could be a monster. You don't know. But if you have looks, if you are blessed with looks, that'll bring you to the front of the line. But especially with men who have made themselves, they're going to need more than that. So you better be ready to be vetted. If you are a beautiful woman and you get moved to the front of the line, and they vet you and then they realize you have a bad attitude, you have entitlement, you have a potty mouth, you like to expose your tattoos, you even have tattoos, whatever that man's deal breakers are. What happens is, ladies, not only do you get moved maybe to the back of the line if you're lucky, you might be tossed out, and here's why. Think of it like a car. I had this epiphany one day. If you've ever bought a lemon, or think of a man who has like a dream car and he waited and he saved up a lot of money and he was like, I'm going to get this car and it's going to be so, shiny and beautiful and I'm going to be racing around town. And he sinks all his money into this car that, he saw in the magazine. And this car is a lemon. And he's always having to take it to the shop or fix it himself. And it's causing so much trouble. He's going to be even angrier that this car that presented itself as like that dream car ended up costing him so much more effort and work than something that's simple and reliable. So when you see average women winning in relationship, start wondering what are they doing that I'm not doing? Because obviously, and this is nothing against being beautiful, but if there's nothing behind that, you will find yourself, like Robinson said, unmarried and unclaimed. That's rough. Any final thoughts, Lucy?
I was watching the lead attorney's channel. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. He was talking about writing a book about how to choose a wife. And these are the items that he said he was looking for in a woman. He would look at personality, consciousness, openness, level of agreeability, intelligence, and looking at things that won't change. And again, the lead attorney and all the men, I mean, I don't know that many men, but the good men that I know have the exact same requirements for women. They don't change. They haven't changed for centuries. They will be being the same. And us women, some of us have not learned how to see what they want and apply it to ourselves to make sure that we get that good man that we're looking for.
Absolutely. So we are wrapping up. Thank you so much for coming in. Team Peterson says, Happy Saturday to the most important women and making femininity great again. Too many women believe that being a baddie is what men want. That's a good one. Instead, condemned. I'm gonna finish reading, but just under the radar. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. T. Peterson says, too many women believe that being a baddie is what men want instead of listening to what we are telling them that we want. Yeah, ladies, the men are saying it, and the men you want are in these spaces and they have said it and are saying it again. Yes, that's what I do. We appreciate the support. We are here every week. And, we are just older women teaching the young. So please share. And we appreciate you so much. But we are going to close out with our stream sponsor, The Condemned, who says health and fitness is extremely valuable, more so later in life. We want our lady to be in her best shape at all times. We will work with her if and when she falls off to get her back on track, but she has to want to, which is sometimes the issue. Yes, ladies, that want to right there. If a man is asking you to do better, do you really need to eat that? Come on, let's go take a walk. If he's encouraging you, to take care of yourself and you push back, it's more than a pushback in that moment. You're showing him that you don't value what he values. You're going to be disagreeable and you're just going to do it if and when you feel like it. And I would say that's disrespectful. And I don't think that's going to give you the results that you want. But Condemn, thank you so much for the $50. I'm going to put you in the banner and then we're going to close out. Anything else, Lucy?
I think the condemned makes a great point. It's easier when you're younger, it's easier to start taking care of yourself. Walk, lift weights, uh, watch what you eat. Because again, your body remembers the minute you start falling and gaining more weight, the minute you start working out again, your body picks up not as quickly, but it certainly picks up. And again, I can tell you that my husband, sometimes he tells me, babe, you're being too hard on yourself. When I start being looking at myself and looking at some pictures and telling him, oh, I've gained 5, 7 pounds. And he's like, you look beautiful how you are right now. I love you that way. You're being too hard on yourself. But again, he has seen me before on how hard I have worked on keeping myself. So again, they give you a break. They're not as harsh as you want when you have that good man next to you. And of course, you got to take care of yourself, but you don't have to be as militant when it comes to that weight or that uh, doing that workout, because they will give you a break and they love you just the way you are.
Absolutely. And Team Peterson says, when we care about you, we will correct the behavior that turns us off. The opposite is also true, ladies. If you have a man that doesn't correct you, that lets you do whatever you want, spend whatever you want, eat whatever you want, go wherever you want, dress however you want, mark up your body however you want, and he says, go ahead and do you. He doesn't have intentions for you. He's just giving you attention. Thank you all so much for being here. I know, Gillis, we missed you too. Different night. My bad. Yesterday, the whole block didn't have power, so we had to reschedule. But the Wives Club is here every week. You can catch me on my cooking channel, Lucy on her femininity channel. We collab on Wednesdays and also Fridays, so you can find us as well. But we're going to go ahead and let you all go. Thank you to the Condemned for the support. Thank you for all of the men in the community. Some of you Ninja Watch, some of you all are in the chat, but we appreciate you so much for the support, for the protection, and for your covering. And we will see you all next time. All right. Goodbye.
Yes.